My fiancé thought I was cheating, so he hired a private investigator to stalk me for a week. I went on a girls' trip and my fiancé had me followed by a private investigator, and now we have to break up. In the lead up to my trip, my fiancé Evan began to act suspiciously towards me and would even check my phone screen if it flashed up. His behavior became cryptic. I would overhear him having quiet phone calls, and he even began to make more trips to my workplace. Every time he did or said something dubious, I confronted him and asked if he was feeling scared or insecure in our relationship, and he said no and gaslighted me into thinking that I was creating this new damning narrative because he would never question my loyalty. That was until I saw a black car appear behind a row of trees by the lake house. Only my close friends and Evan knew where we were, so I immediately knew this had something to do with my fiancé. I marched over to the car, knocked on the window, and a startled woman with long blonde hair looked up at me behind a pair of dark glasses. She refused to get out of the car or roll down the window. Instead, she smiled and mouthed, "Sorry, I am lost," before hightailing it up the track and away from the lake house. I thought nothing more of it until I arrived home 2 days later. I walked in to see the same blonde woman sitting with Evan in the kitchen, who then turned to me and gestured to a seat. As I drew closer, I could see an array of photographs sprinkled across the kitchen table. "Who is this?" Evan pointed to one of the pictures. I laughed and said, "That is the pizza delivery guy." To that he replied, "You two look really close." "Yeah," I said. "He was paying me for the pizza. I don't know the guy." Suddenly Evan shot up in a rage. "Your behavior is unacceptable. Dancing with strange men. Spending so many nights out with your friends. I don't feel like I know you anymore." I watched him pace, and to think, I have been bending over backwards to make you happy and then you go and do this. It's disgusting. I had momentarily forgotten about the blonde woman, so I glanced over and asked Evan who she was. He told me that she was a private investigator, and my brain started to whirl. Evan's investigator stood up, clearly realizing the reality, and excused herself, but I didn't let her go. "No, sit down. When did Evan contact you and why?" I was so mortified and hurt. He must have thought I was having an affair or up to some other wicked scheme. She told me that he suspected that I was being unfaithful and paid her $2,000 to watch me for the week. She produced more pictures, phone records and bank records. I have never cheated on Evan, nor would I. He must be having a premarital breakdown. I defended myself while he questioned me about my male work colleagues, how I laughed at one of their jokes last week in the break room, how I winked at the postman, and why I had started coming home so late and exhausted from work. I didn't know what to do, so I asked Evan if we could sit down and talk alone. We were talking until the early hours of the morning, and I must have passed out because when I woke up, he was gone. I walked towards the staircase and heard a loud moan. Worried Evan was upset, I ran upstairs and opened our bedroom door to find Evan and the investigator having intimacy in our bed.